welcome everyone. Welcome, Yelessa. This is OMG, our meditation generation. We last week we were speaking with Spring or Edwin, and Yolessa was gone, so we're gonna have to catch her up on the conversation, and maybe we can blend them together. Where were you, by the way?
I don't remember.
Okay, maybe she was out meditating. Last week when Spring was here, we talked about the role that meditation plays in people's aspirations.
I heard about that.
Maybe social movements or spiritual movements, life inspiration. And he told us that he actually didn't directly go into meditation, but it was a means to achieve the goals that he wanted. And we had a really great conversation about how people could use meditation to achieve their goals.
So did you come to any exciting conclusions?
Well, that's the interesting thing.
What's the interesting?
Well, with meditation, it's really not about conclusions.
Oh, okay.
It's about the concentration and focus and
But
awareness.
I'm talking about the show.
The show, well, the show, we realized how meditation could be helpful to people of all ages with whatever they're trying to achieve.
Okay.
That it's a great tool, and that it's something that everyone can do.
Oh, okay, cool. So
and also, since our last show, I shaved my Van Dyke.
Your goatee.
Well, no, the goatee goes all the way around.
Oh.
Actually, no, that's wrong. It's the soul patch.
Soul patch. He had a soul patch.
I had a soul patch. So I shaved my soul patch, and now I'm completely clean-faced.
Or naked, so to speak.
So to speak. Barefaced.
Okay.
Telling the truth.
So let's get on with it. So
all right. So welcome, folks, to OMG. Welcome, Yolessa. I think today we can focus on a variation on last week's theme. Instead of talking about these larger, inspirational,
aspirational issues,
I think we could talk about more personal goals, personal issues. And the thing that seems to affect people of all ages, races, genders is concern about their weight. I mean, America really does have a problem with obesity. In fact, it's an epidemic.
It is an epidemic. You're right.
And
what do you know some statistics on that, or approximate how much of this nation is considered obese?
Actually, I'm sorry, those numbers have jumped out of my head. I had them at one point, but I can tell you the one thing that that makes the United States unique with its obesity epidemic is that we have children as young as 3 years old
who are obese. That's
not cool.
You're right. Right.
That's not cool, people. So that means at a younger age, people are developing diseases like diabetes, high blood pressure.
All kinds of diseases that are typically associated with people
age,
who are in their 50s or 60s, and you see children with them. It's really kind of sad, actually.
It's very sad. And, we've talked about, as a country, we've talked about what we could do to change our diet, what we could do with fast food restaurants.
Oh my gosh, this makes me think
labeling.
Of, Beyonce's, what is it? Move Your Body.
Oh, Move Your Body. I love that video.
Beyonce's Move Your Body. Yeah. It was like a workout video.
It was.
For
and
children.
I wonder how many people actually followed the video and didn't just watch it.
Right.
It was fun to watch, but it was a really cool video, and I'm glad that she did that. And that was part of Michelle Obama's campaign.
Yes.
To get children to move more.
Right.
But, here we are in 2012. I think that campaign has been going on for about 2 years, and I think we're in the same boat.
Right. Well, I remember originally, I'm originally Canadian, so I'm using a Canadian reference.
Don't tell anybody.
But when I was living in Canada, which was a while ago, they had this work to rule thing going on at the time, where they took out all the gym classes, art classes, everything, all those programs out of schools. It was work to rule because of budget or whatever the reasons. And I wondered if there's the same thing going on in the United States.
You brought up a very good point, because most municipal governments have been in extremis in the past 5 years. So the first thing to go has been art and physical education, dance. And so you're right. Most schools have cut that out.
Right. So there really isn't kind of an education about moving your body and staying healthy, eating healthy, all those kinds of things.
It's not enough. Right. So it's not enough that McDonald's changes their labels or starts to sell apples.
McDonald's changes
They
their
did.
labels.
Yeah, no, they did.
Actually, you're right.
But
You're right.
it's not enough. You know, they actually people have to move their bodies.
Yeah, there's actually something sort of paradoxical going on in society. So on one level, people are, you know, like you're seeing the social movement toward like health foods, like McDonald's
Right.
had to change their whole outlook. A lot of fast food companies had to, you know, reintegrate or integrate healthy concepts into their marketing. Yet,
People have become
Yet-
hyper aware.
right, but yet obesity is rising. So
Exactly.
then what's really going on?
Well, because what's happening is we haven't changed our thinking. So
Okay.
if you go to a place like Starbucks, even though they label all of their products, and if you notice, Starbucks started selling these tiny little treats because they have to put the calories on them, and they realize that nobody's going to buy something that's like 600 calories. So instead of a big cupcake, you have
They
those
make
little,
these like very
yeah,
cute,
those
tiny
little cute
little
things.
lollipoppy things.
But you know, the problem is people still buy those drinks that are full of sugar and milk,
Right.
and that's really what gets it. It's the drinking, and it's really the lack of thinking about the whole lifestyle.
right.
So I think this is where we really need to go, which is how meditation can play a key role in people losing weight.
Right. Or okay, so if you were gonna, you know, name, there's probably 100 million things you could do to lose weight. You could take a pill.
Not
You
enough.
could take a pill.
Because it doesn't last. You can take a pill, but it doesn't
Right.
last.
They, you know, we see that. We see
Right.
that
It's
on
gonna-
the
it's gonna
market.
backfire.
Everything. What
You can get a surgery.
You can
which
get
they
a
now call
surgery.
lap
can
band.
suction you.
Yeah, suction. Yeah.
What else can you do?
You could wear those hiding clothing.
What?
You know those.
What
are
are those hiding
Spanx?
clothes?
Spanx.
Or you
You know what I'm talking about?
actually?
Spanx?
I have Spanx. They're not hiding clothing. They just make you look good. I swear to God. Don't
I thought that
don't
they were-
hate on my Spanx.
I'm not going to hate on the Spanx, but I thought the whole goal of Spanx is to make your waist look slim. And,
Yeah, it
you know,
is.
so-
And
that
to make
means-
everything look smooth.
That means the curves that are naturally there are somehow.
And if somebody
disappearing.
bumps into you, you feel really toned. I'm so serious.
Well, you know what? The thing that I always worry about the whole Spanx movement is like, what
The
happens?
Spanx movement.
What happens when you got to take the Spanx off?
Well, you know.
Anyway, I digress. So actually, this brings us to a cool point
Right.
about like why people want to take shortcuts to weight loss, and it's because maybe they're not concerned about their health as much as they're concerned about how they look. And we saw a really great article today on Mind Body Green, your guide to wellness. Thank you, Mind Body Green, folks.
Right. Thank you.
They wrote an article, How Yoga Helped Me Embrace My Body.
Right.
And even though the pictures of two skinny minis,
I know.
I think the article speaks to really all women of all shapes.
Right.
Basically, it's about how, you know, through breathing, meditation, yoga, you really get to learn to accept, you know, what's going on with your body, and you don't necessarily need surgical augmentation.
Right. So ironically, even somebody who is skinny, you know,
May have
can
body
have
issues. That's right.
serious body issues
That's right.
and serious confidence, you know, issues coming from their body. Like the girl in the article, she had, you know, itty bitty boobs.
Yeah, that's true. She called them mosquito bites. That's
Yeah,
right.
or
Yeah.
other people called them mosquito bites. and she said it sort of traumatized her actually,
Yeah.
you know, and she became sort of very obsessed with her physique. And, you know, spent so much time every day just
Obsessing
focused
about it.
and
yeah.
obsessing about her body. And she felt she couldn't really escape that cycle. It was like a trap. Like, you know, like I'm a slave to like these thoughts about my body. You can't really feel liberated.
And I think that affects the way people who may have eating disorders, whether it's overeating or undereating, is the fact that they obsess about, you know, these thoughts about their body and about how they look, and they're
Right.
caught in the cycle. It's like a tape that keeps going around and around in their head.
Right. So then that brings us to, what do you think is the root of being overweight? Is it just, you know, some genetic thing that happens and somebody's trying so hard and they eat really well and they're just overweight, or maybe that's just one reason, or is it emotional? Is there some kind
I think
of
genetics and environment play a part, but emotion,
subconscious
emotion
thing going
is.
on
I
there?
think emotion is the biggest part because
Right.
food is a source of comfort.
Uh-huh.
It replaces maybe lack of love or lack of confidence, and it's also so accessible. It's easy to
That's
get food, and it's also easy to get the sweet foods and the things that tend to cause us to gain weight.
And actually, they're marketed to make you feel good.
Yeah.
Like when you think of all the packaging or all the labeling, everything is designed to give you an instant gratification. And like you said, an instant feeling of love, of joy, like whether it's a cupcake that has like pretty pink whatever on it with a little bow tie, somehow fulfill some desire
Mm-hmm.
immediately. And so it becomes, I think, can become a vicious cycle of immediate gratification. And then as a result, sort of numbing down of
Right.
like what's really going on, or, being able to be aware of like the underlying psychological patterning there.
And I'm going to make another digression because I had a realization recently, probably within the last few months, but I think that I grew up generally tolerant, but I don't think I always understood what it meant for people to have addictions. And I think,
Right.
really through meditation, I saw that a lot of the people who are suffering from addiction, it's because of their sensitivities, to maybe the world around them or maybe some trauma that they experienced. And whatever they're addicted to is helping them escape that feeling. And as you said, this goes back to people maybe eating for emotion. So it's
That's a
something
good point.
something that they don't want to feel over and over again. And the eating, it's like you said, it's numbing them from that feeling. And this is where meditation plays a key role because it helps you break any of these cycles. It doesn't stop you from feeling. Nothing really does. I mean, we're human. So
Right.
feeling is a natural part of what we are and do, but meditation helps you accept and become aware of what you're feeling.
I think you said the key word, accept.
Right.
So if you just sort of accept it and then you're just with whatever's going on with you and you don't necessarily feel compelled to escape it, it's almost like you build tolerance and you can take it. And so it processes as opposed to just building up these layers of, tension, for years and years and years. Things just naturally process and go through you. And I think that sort of energetic or, psychological, once you start processing, I have found, people who, for example, started yoga and meditation, and that's exactly what happened. They started processing, then the pounds just came off.
Right. Sometimes they don't even notice.
They don't even notice. For example, they didn't
because they
start
accept their bodies
necessarily eating differently. They didn't really do anything differently except for this releasing and processing. And then it was so deeply connected to their, constitution or whatever was going on with them. Their body went through huge changes.
And I think at this point, it's also interesting to note that it's going to be hard for us to just think our way out of this. And that's why meditation isn't about thinking. It really is about watching and accepting and being aware. And also, it's not even about exercise, because exercise alone isn't going to do it. Believe me, everybody should move their bodies. But I think that there was an Olympic swimmer, Amanda Beard, who obviously was in great shape, but she even struggled with her body image. So, exercise alone isn't going to be it. It really is about developing this sense of awareness and acceptance of yourself and your experiences.
Right. So, did I already ask you, have you ever been overweight?
I have. Actually, I had I had one fat period in my life, but of course, fat is in the eye of the beholder because maybe to some people I was still probably rather slim, but it was my freshman year in college, my first time away from home. I had was undisciplined about my eating.
Right.
I was drinking and a lot of beer. I think it was pizza and beer every night or something crazy like that. I mean So it just gradually built up. I had no idea. To me, you know,
did you look in the mirror one day and you were like, "What is that?"
Well,
what is that?
Well, actually, I don't think I even looked in the mirror one day and saw it. Um, you know, there was toward the end of that year, I even went to like some function at a lake or a beach, and I had these Speedos on, and I was all over the place. I had no idea what I really looked like. You know, it was quite a crime. But I think what really helped me realize it was that summer I got food poisoning. So after my freshman year, I got food poisoning, and I got really sick, and I couldn't really eat for like 2 weeks, and I lost so much weight, and that's when I saw it. When I lost so much weight so fast, and I realized how heavy I had been. And I don't know. I think generally I have a high metabolism, so I tend to always stay pretty slim. But, you know, at that time, my exercise was bad. And I think the good thing about that that illness was that once I did become aware of my body like that, when I came back my sophomore year in college, I was really more focused on my body. I actually started running, and, you know, I took an elective class, to do gym. It's something I didn't need to do. I really started focusing on my body. And I noticed it changed, a lot about my life. So
it seems like the key is to have a healthy awareness.
It's totally key.
So it's good to sometimes look in the mirror and say, wait a second, like, maybe I've been indulging a little bit too much. Maybe I need to hold back a little, but never to be too harsh.
Right.
So you still are full of self-love, et cetera, but having that healthy, a healthy awareness.
So, I think as everybody's listening to us, and by the way, if you look at the right-hand corner of the screen, you can leave your comments or questions, and we'll be happy to answer them. But I think it might be helpful at this point for us to talk about what people can concretely do in the realm of meditation. Maybe we could talk about some aspects of meditation, or even do a guided meditation that people can participate in. So I think the number one key to start with, which is true in yoga and meditation, is breathing.
Yes,
plays a key role.
So why breathing?
Well, I will start with breathing for the mind, because your breath is an easy thing to pay attention to. So even if you have these recurring thoughts about your body, or you're obsessing about food, it's relatively easy to come back to your breath, especially if you're counting your breaths and you repeat them over and over again, or if you just do an in-out cycle of breathing. But the breathing is something very natural to come back to.
Well, it brings you to the here and now.
It brings you to the present. That's
so rather than going into the future, going into the past, obsessing about what isn't yet, or what already has been and that you can't change, you come right into the present and just observe yourself.
And
right now.
Maybe it also brings you to a place of acceptance, because how can you deny yourself your breath?
And then also I think it's an analogy, but it's not just an analogy. It's a reality of when you're breathing, you have to inhale and to exhale.
Right.
So, addiction is sort of fueled by inhaling not being able to exhale.
Inhaling experiences.
Right, and then avoiding everything you've inhaled.
Right.
and so breathing is kind of this balance of releasing, taking in, releasing, taking in, releasing. And somehow, yes, the awareness is there, but actually your body has a physical, I really feel like your body has a physical reaction to that, relaxes and lets go. And that can lead, I feel, to weight loss.
And one thing before we start to talk about actual meditation practices, we got a nice comment from Nancy, who said that for her awareness tool, she actually cuts out words and phrases from magazines and tapes them on her mirror. So something like to encourage yourself, you can do it, or you're beautiful today, or even
like a mantra,
no cake for you.
No cake for you. What about cake for you? Sometimes you have to reward yourself.
Or what about you deserve better?
Right.
Something like that, because whether it's you deserve better than cake or you deserve better than the past experiences.
Right.
But, you know, because a lot of times the addiction is fueled by people maybe not feeling like they deserve the love or they deserve
Right. And do you
their
think
existence.
if you put out like a mantra like that, you tape it on your door? I've done that before. It has to be specific, or it should just be general, like you deserve better, or you deserve better
Well, here's what I would
love
say. I would say
from a man.
whether whether it's general or specific, I think it's important that you actually say it.
Okay.
Writing things down or even putting them where you can see them are helpful.
Mhm.
But if you actually say it, that sound is resonating within your body.
Okay.
So I would suggest, okay, we
You
start with
deserve
some
better.
breathing.
You deserve better.
We'd start with some breathing, and then we add a mantra
Okay.
that you can repeat to yourself while you meditate.
Okay.
And that will bring you back to your thought. So if that cake pops up in your mind, you just say what?
I want to eat it.
No, you deserve better.
You deserve better.
Or what if your goal is I want to be healthy?
Okay.
Or even before you start from a place of, where what you're trying to achieve, even starting with a place of acceptance. So if your mantra can be, I love my body.
I love my body.
I love my body.
I love my body.
I accept my body.
I accept my body. Sometimes.
I accept my body.
So why don't we try it?
Okay. All right. So first of all, let's get our viewers to practice breathing with us.
Okay.
And the best thing to do is to start with the exhale to release as much as possible.
He, hoo, hoo.
Yeah. Okay. She's giving birth now.
He,
So
hoo, hoo.
let's do maybe in cycles of 3.
Okay.
Exhale 3 times and then inhale 3 times. Hold.
I
and
like
then
it.
Release. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Want to try it?
Okay.
Okay. Let's go.
Now we're inhaling.
Now we're inhaling
In increments of 3.
and holding and release.
So we're doing it in increments of 3. You inhaled. I heard you. You inhaled, or you first exhaled, and then you inhaled 1, 2, 3. Then you held for
Right.
1, 2, 3, and you exhaled for 1, 2, 3.
Right.
Okay, let's try it again. That feels good.
Yeah. Even just that short period.
Uh-huh.
So I think one of the things we talked about in previous episodes is the misconceptions that meditation has to be a long time.
Right.
You have to be some sage on the mountaintop. But if you just did that simple breathing for 3 to 5 minutes, you're going to make a huge difference.
Yeah, I totally feel like my brain cleared.
I do too. I feel more relaxed.
Brain cleared? Mind cleared?
Mind cleared. Well, at least my sinus is cleared.
Right.
So how do you think that relates to weight loss, that breathing part?
Well, when I did that, the feeling I got, I felt like, honestly, I've never smoked anything, but I felt like I smoked something and relaxed. I really did. But it was really, really good. It could be the reason people smoke in the first place.
And actually, I think this is nothing official here. This is not the law from Sinai. This is just my own idea. But people who smoke, it's really, I believe, a substitution for exhaling and proper breathing.
Yes.
Because people
I
are
think
relaxing.
so.
Just take out the smoke and do that without the cigarette. See how much better you'll feel.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So now, did you do the mantra in your head when you were breathing?
No. I
No?
just
You
did
just
the
did the
breathing.
breathing? Do you think
So-
it's hard to do both?
Oh. That requires a lot of focus, but I could try.
So
But-
what I think may be better is if you start with the do several sets of 3 breaths,
Uh-huh.
and then
Do you
go
think
to a mantra.
do you think it's better to do it in your head or say it out loud? I feel
It
like
depends.
when I say it out loud, I can recognize the feelings I'm having in my body better. So, for example, if I said I love my body, ooh, I can feel that tinge of hesitation like, "Oh no, you don't."
But if you breathe first and relax and release before you say it.
Right? I was sort of holding my breath when I just said.
Okay, now
But
try
anyway,
it. Now
but I can
exhale and
recognize.
try it.
Okay. Just exhale or I have to breathe in?
Exhale 3 times.
All right, all right, all right. I love my body. Oh, I believe it more.
Don't you feel it?
Uh-huh. I do feel that. Now you have to try it. What's
Okay.
your mantra?
What is my mantra? It's not cake. How about, I think this is something that can help everyone,
Mm-hmm.
which is I am healthy,
Okay.
which is basically not only an affirmation of the health that I have, but the health that I can continually generate.
Are you breathing?
I am healthy. I am healthy. I am healthy. Actually, when I did that, there was no thought.
Well, you
When I did-
certainly look still.
So when I exhaled and then said those words,
Mhm.
I really had no thought in my mind.
Does that mean that you feel like you could just accept it because you had no thought about it?
I really, you know what that I think it means that other messages that may be occurring in my brain
Mm-hmm.
have no
Shut
room.
down.
Yeah, they shut down.
Okay.
So if I have a message that I'm not lovable,
Mm.
I'm poor, I'm ugly, I'm fat, they don't have room if I am breathing and saying that
Right.
mantra.
I would also say if you're going to have a mantra, probably you don't want to say, I am not poor. Rather, it would be good to say the positive opposite. Like, I am, what's the word? Abundantful?
I have abundance.
I have abundance.
Actually, so why don't we lead the audience to do that together? You can lead that, and let's take about a minute, and we'll do some breathing, and we'll just repeat. I have abundance.
Okay. So, are you with me? On one, or when I count to 1, 2, 3, we can all exhale together in 3 increments. And then we can say, I have abundance. All right. 1, 2, 3. I have abundance. I have abundance. I have abundance.
I have abundance.
I have abundance.
I have abundance.
I have abundance.
I have abundance.
I have abundance.
I have abundance.
I have abundance. I feel it.
I feel it.
I hope you guys feel it.
I haven't really had this conversation before
Mhm.
with anyone, and what this brings up is that generally most people, when they practice a mantra, they focus on a word in Sanskrit or maybe
Yes.
in Japanese or Chinese
Mhm.
or Korean. And these are words that actually have a lot of energetic or spiritual power,
Yes.
but may not have experiential meaning for them.
Right.
So this is where I would encourage you to use words or phrases, and don't throw out those other mantras. But I think if you can start to use words or phrases that have experiential meaning for you, you can really start to affect change in your life.
Right, because it's literal. It's not just hypothetical
It's not hypothetical.
or
Also,
abstract.
it's not abstract. Also, your body remembers. There's an experience in your mind. There's a memory associated with that word abundance, even if it's a film or a book or a conversation you had. So when you call that up, it's a part of your whole body's experience.
Right.
All right, here's a question that we have. I find it helpful to envision my ideal self while I meditate. And instead of focusing on weight loss, I focus on myself feeling joyful while walking or running. What do you think about visualization during this kind of meditation? So,
Hold on, I need to read that one.
Okay, she wants to read it too. So what I would say for that is, I think that's a good point. For many people, it might be easier just to imagine themselves being happy. You know, so if you either remember a time when you were happy as a child and hold that memory and that smile, you know, and I think that if keep focusing on that and visualizing that, I think that can help.
That's a good point. Whether it's a memory or you create the image,
right.
Sometimes I feel like creating the image can be more powerful.
It can be more powerful.
I can be wrong, but
no. What if your image is if you in a car, a brand new car? There's nothing wrong with that.
But nonetheless, some people are definitely visual and some people, you know, audio. It really just depends on what works for you. I'm a very visual person, so images are very powerful for me.
And many people have a hard time visualizing.
For example,
and actually feel uncomfortable, like they feel false or something when they're imagining a vision in their mind.
And that's actually another point. So if you have a goal of losing weight, you really need to imagine yourself at your desired weight or with your desired body. You need to be able to see it. So I used to be a runner, and as a runner, I used to constantly visualize the results of my, you know, competition. At that time, I would visualize it, maybe sometimes 1,000 more than that, all night, dream about it until I felt it was really integrated. And usually if it was integrated, the result always came. Actually, I don't remember a time when it didn't come. If I was lazy and I knew it wasn't integrated, it usually didn't come. But I always knew that I was lazy and didn't fully integrate it. You can just feel it when it's 100% or when it's 80% or when it's 50%. And if you can really see that, if you can really see yourself that way and you feel confident and you feel like that's really going to happen 100%, that's how much you've integrated the image, it will happen. I really feel like it will happen.
Well, I think that it's almost time for us to wrap up, but I know it's so sad. But one thing that I want to point out to everyone is, you know, when we're having this conversation, feel free to join in and also recognize we're not saying that the solution to one of America's greatest problems, obesity, is just a thought away.
Right.
But we're saying that we all have, individually, we have the capacity to make those changes for ourselves. And so we hope that you come away from our conversation feeling empowered and you don't feel guilty, you don't feel like you're to blame, but that you can play a role in changing your weight.
Right.
All right. So thank you all for joining us here on OMG.
Thank you.
Our meditation generation. And we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Send us your questions.